And
do you deny that you went to Mswati's house at 1 o'clock carrying, because there's allegations that you were carrying money, and from what I've seen is that you are saying those allegations are just frivolous, where there's just a concocted things about you. So do you deny that you went there carrying money and bottles of whiskeys at night and all that on the allegation that he has raised?
Now, this Musibi you're talking about, that, and you even ask me the question, have you been to the farm? When you've got an answer, Kenny can say whatever nonsense he wants to say. He must repeat that in court. Don't ask me that question as Kenny's question. We'll ventilate his nonsense in court. Because he doesn't have an answer. He says, I'm suing him for calling me a boy. It's not true. I'm suing him for saying I'm at the center of the cartel. But when the brain has moved from the head into a stomach and increased your stomach, then we've got those such problems. You can't think. You can't read. It's not only kids now. It looks like we do politics with adults who can't read for a meaning. He must go and read the papers again. He's being sued for saying, I am at the center of the cartel. Meaning, by implications, he says, that big 5 drug cartel you are looking for, I am one of them. He says that. Now he realized he has spoken nonsense. He leaves that. He says, no, he's suing me because he says I called him a boy. And because he knows you don't read, you're going to repeat after him. Read. Just read. Read papers. The papers of the court are not difficult. What is difficult is when they start arguing about a case law. But the papers is a storytelling. This one said this one said that was a storytelling. How can storytelling be difficult? You don't get involved. If you are that lazy, don't go to legal arguments, leave them. And just read the storytelling. Or like le pantiti le ba le suela eng. Then you will understand, man, when you are excited like a child in a podcast. And you said Malema was at the center of the cartel. So we want you to tell us how does Malema become part of the drug cartel? In supporting his evidence, he says, I took 80,000 to the farm and then a bottle of whiskey to pay a protection fee to the cartel. How do I pay a protection fee to myself? He said, I'm the cartel. I'm at the center of it. I take money to pay myself and then ask myself that, please protect me. No one must attack me. I seek no protection from anyone. No one. And then I'm suing him again for saying I stayed at Mswati's back room. I never stayed at Mswati's back room. Even my wife never stayed at Mswati's back room. That thing is a, what do you call it? 4-cluster house. My wife's rented house was in front of Mswati's house. So before you go to Mswati's house, you pass my wife's house, if that's what he meant. If that's what he meant. So, but you can't see what's happening in that thing. He can't imagine a white man staying behind a back room of a black person. If by Kenny's description, that's a back room, it means it was Mswati staying at Mantra's back room. Because the house of Mswati is at the back. Mantra's one is in front. He's got he doesn't bring any evidence. He brings some aerial photograph. He can't tell which one of those houses is Mantra's house. I never stayed in Hyde Park. I stayed in Cape Town. I've got a house in Cape Town. My wife stayed there. I work in Cape Town. I don't work here. I work in Cape Town. I get paid in Cape Town. That's where my job is. But when I'm here, where I sleep is none of your business. The customer chooses about tomorrow, bala. Or a robala guy. The utra or a bonoro. So there are so many issues that I'm dealing with there. But I've been to the farm of Msibi because when General Cele spoke about it in Parliament, he said even Malema spoke at his funeral. I said yes. In the ad hoc committee, I said yes. His funeral was at his farm. So why should it be a story now that someone tells you a story for the second time that I was at the farm? You was at the farm. Peggy Cele said it in the ad hoc committee. I said yes. 3 of us spoke there. I spoke, Mbalula spoke, Peggy Cele spoke. How did I know the old man? I knew the old man through there when they were engaged in a strike here in Johannesburg. I can't remember if it was which year. At the center of the protest of the taxis at the time was Taxi SA is refusing to give them shareholders, yet they're the biggest customers of Taxi SA. The Taxi SA is nothing without them. And I happened to know Zeh, who was involved in those negotiations. And then Zeh held a party at his place. I went. I can't remember where I was from. And I didn't know this man, but I was like, there's just something about this guy. They said, no, this is Msibi, the boss of taxis. So it made sense to have taxi people there at Zeh's party because Zeh works with the Taxi SA, is the one who do deals for them and all of that. Zeh helped only to find that Zeh helped them to break a deal. And then they got 25% of the shares in the Taxi SA. So this Msibi we are speaking about is a shareholder of a registered listed company called Taxi SA. Who financed Msibi's deals? Was it Malema? No. What is this company called? What growth? It financed that part of the deal. Standard Bank put money in the deal. All different types of banks put money from Msibi to buy those shares in the Taxi SA. You're saying I gave him 80,000 and then you want to make it a story. How much did the bank give him for him to get a stake of 25% in a listed company at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange? Go and find out as to how much banks gave Msibi and stop talking nonsense of a person who's hallucinating. Were you with me when you say they called me at 12? Because it can only be that you were with me or you were with Msibi when you called me at 12. And then, were you there when I came with a bottle or anything? I never went to Msibi with a bottle. I never went to Msibi with money. I went to Msibi half the time to talk to him about taxis reducing their price, because he had an influence both in taxis and the buses. He's a founder of Santaco. They deal with my constituency every day. Millions, they transport them every day. So I knew him, and then he said his business is taxis, and from time to time we'll negotiate with him at the farm, here in Sandton at Zeh's office, sometimes at that Saxon Hotel, and so on and so forth. Anyway, when I call, I'll find him and he's ready to meet me. I'll go and meet him and present my story. Zeh even made me meet Padco people. That's how much he had influence in Padco, and how he has worked with them before. He knows them, and they will be saying they have buses. Sometimes they will want to drop us last minute. We'll ask him to intervene for us to get buses. So it's not the other way around. If anything, I'm the one who was negotiating discounts for activities and EFF activities. I went, spoke to them, and we never spoke any crime, me and them. Actually, the stories I'm hearing are horrifying stories that I've not experienced anything that suggests anything of that sort with those guys. Now, Msibi liked my brain and used to engage with me because the people around him, they were very scared of him. So someone told me that when you go there, you must just leave him to talk. Because if you speak, when he's speaking, he becomes aggressive. So he spoke, and then I tried to come in, and then I saw that thing those people were speaking about. But the mistake he did was to put a bottle that was containing a very noisy water. And he kept on encouraging me to drink that water. After 2-3 glasses, I tried speaking. And then he said, no, I'm going to finish. I mean, this is like now, more than an hour. I said, look, no one told me I'm coming here to be addressed by you. No one. They said we're coming to have a meeting. And then the next thing I can't speak, I'm going to speak. Otherwise, this meeting must finish. Then he stopped and looked at me when I was speaking. Then he said, hey, I see that thing of parliament in real life here. Get exactly that. We can't do that. Then from there, I became used to him. This is what I said at his funeral. If there is a video, they can play it for you.